Traumazine by Meg the Stallion, 18 songs, 51 minutes long. Meg the Stallion, artist we have reviewed quite a bit on here. Doesn't need any introduction at all, really, but we jumps in it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting things in here. Some pretty cool features and other things that I think actually serve it really well. But there's a lot in here to me that's just kind of filler. It's really long. It's 18 songs, which for like a trap album can be pretty hard, but which is a little disappointing because there's actually a lot of good stuff in here, but you just have to sift through a lot of things to get to the goodness. And there's actually, I feel like it's pretty bottom heavy with some of the good stuff that I like too. But I think Meg the Stallion is falling into the hole of now becoming a really popular artist and just is pumping out so much music now where it's like, okay, we need to slow that down a little bit. So, but
I mean,
overall, yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry to cut you off. I think you're about to say, like, overall, it's a pretty good project.
Overall, I think it's a decent project, but there's a lot of things in here that I think some editing would have been really well. Like example, an NDA as an opening track is decent, but it's there's a couple stuff in here like maybe Gift to Curse Her in the middle of the record where you can like either place those differently or get it up to where then you can get to that Pusheisty feature a little bit earlier and stuff. So it's like just the way that it's just the way that it flows through. It just to get to some of the good stuff, it takes a little long. So it feels pretty dragged out by the time you get to the end. And there's actually a lot of good stuff at the end. You have Consistently Virginia Echo, which I really like. You have even like a more hip hop.
Before we like super jump into it, like I would say top line, I largely agree with you. I think that I would also recognize Megan Thee Stallion as like, this project is substantially better. Like, for this being like a trap project that comes out in 2022 compared to like trap music that we've reviewed as albums in like 2018, 2019, like those are some rough summers. Like this is a much more complete work. There is production that goes in a lot more of a range. Yes, there's a lot of stuff that kind of feels a little bit played out, and there's some ordering stuff and structuring things that would have done differently. But yeah, it's like we're kind of floating around it. Early on, you get the song Her, which is like this sort of dancey electronic kind of thing with Megan rapping over it and doing it really well. But it feels like because
out of place.
Yeah, it feels out of place because later on, it's funny enough, we have Rico Nasty also on this record, which is a really good thing. But on Rico Nasty's record, that first electronic song on that album Rico Nasty just put out launched a pivot of the entire album into a dance thing. It's okay if Megan Thee Stallion does or doesn't want to do that, but that song is such a statement. I feels like it has to be put somewhere where, like, you know, Budget featuring Latto, which is kind of middling, is not the lead up song to it, for example. That's why I kind of very much agree with you there. Like, I also, Megan Thee Stallion is lyrically one of the best, like, rappers out in the game right now, especially like female rappers. And so, like, I feel that could have been used better in certain cases here, whereas like other tracks and records kind of feel like phoned in, especially like some of the features.
100%. Yeah, and definitely like compared to like say the YB better scale, as we always say, YB definitely not better. We just have to put it out there because it's a trap record, so I just have to say that. But again, like, I'm just being very critical because I think some of her work is actually pretty good, but just within this, it's more of like, I don't know how much of a say she has in some of this and how much of it is the producers and all the other people that chime in on the record that push her towards that direction. So there's just little things like that I would like to be different. Example, I really genuinely like the song Her, but I wouldn't want it put there. Like example, if you put Her maybe towards the bottom before Plan B or after Plan B, I think that actually would be pretty cool because you have like a pretty hard trap song, then you have with Pressurelicious with Future at the bottom, but then you have this really nice kind of old school hip hop song with Plan B, which I like. And then if you do that and then add like a different pivot on there, that makes the end of the album a little bit spicier. But if you put it just at the beginning right there, and especially after Budget, it just feels really awkward with the way it flows.
Yeah, that's the other thing I think, like I had a thought about it, but it left because you came up with a lot of really good points there. But I feel like trap albums should have a certain kind of flow to them. I really kind of throw away the first song on any trap record because like Migos will break out like trumpets in an orchestra and you'll think that, oh, this might be like a grand like leap forward. Like they might be actually trying to do something different. And then like the next song's Bad Bitches Only. So like it's
Bad Bitches Only goes hard though.
Fair enough. But like it's not groundbreaking, so to speak, right?
No.
It definitely didn't have the shelf life that we would prefer.
It's not drifting off elevators part 1 and 2. All right.
Yeah, for sure. But like I think Ungrateful with Key Glock is a great song. Like I like the beat. I think they work well together. But I also think it's a little bit slow to be your like lead off song, essentially. The song after the first one. I would have put, I think you even referenced this, Who Me with Pooh Shiesty, which is phenomenal and a banger and kind of gets you hyped up as a Meg Thee Stallion album. Like
at the beginning, dude.
Yeah, you put that in the beginning. Like Meg Thee Stallion, this is twerk music. This is like get down, like have fun, like active, like moving music. I feel like because we're album people, like the thing is a lot of trap is just consumed like track by track and in mixes and playlists, and that's totally fine, right? But as album people, and I think artists are trying to put out an album with meaning, the order here definitely does it disservice. Because when we go to the bottom of the record, like I mentioned, Scare with Rico Nasty is phenomenal. I think
hard.
You have some really good bars within Anxiety and Flip Flop. Those are like the filler tracks, but I think Megan Thee Stallion's really working out well, and you see her growing and performing as an artist, which I think is great. But then, Consistency, Star, Pressurelicious, I think all of those songs are just like really tied in together so closely that it definitely does it a disservice.
Yeah, I agree. Overall, I think it's actually a decent project from here because I think there's a lot of good tracks in here. Again, like the ending track, Sweetest Pie with Dua Lipa, I think it's like a really nice pop trap song. Where it's like stuff like that. I think she's really like going in the right direction of her career wise and everything. But again, it's just me being nitpicky for an album. Like there's a lot of things in here I would just move around and maybe even like cut entirely. But there's a lot of good in here. So again, on the YB better scale, YB not better. So she's definitely on the top of the game, like female rapper wise. Flow is great. Production is actually very good on most of these tracks. So that's something that I do have to applaud as well.
Yeah. Plan B was the one you mentioned with the old school kind of backflip, right?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, I like that. And I really like that track a ton.
Yeah.
Especially before, like, I like where it's placed. Again, I wish you placed her right after or right before it, too. Because before that, or like after it, you would have the little freestyle and then your Sweetest Pie. And I think that's a really good way to end a record. But
yeah, I super don't know. There's almost inevitably going to be a deluxe. Somehow you kind of don't expect it. I think Megan Thee Stallion, 40 minutes, this could have been a really phenomenal record. 50 minutes, I start to wonder, cut a few things here, rearrange a lot of things there. And you do have a phenomenal collection of songs. But Megan Thee Stallion, you can definitely make albums. Like a lot of Megan Thee Stallion's works, even the things that are like supposed to be collections of songs, like Something for the Hotties or Sugar, like those feel like collections of songs. But even like this is now like the second proper record type deal. There have been mixtapes and things like that, which are like even less supposed to be collections. Good News didn't. I remember having this complaint with Good News as well. It didn't totally like flow through like an album. This is much better than Good News, that's for sure. Personally, I like it more. Yeah. But I'm waiting for Megan Thee Stallion to really hit that point of good album production.
Which she's close.
Yeah, very close. It's all the elements are there. It's just like really owning it in. And yeah. Anyways, arbitrary scale this week. We do arbitrary scales every week on Audioface because our review is our review, and we don't want to botch it up with an actual rating system that makes sense. So we'll instead botch it up with a rating system that doesn't make sense. So you can get mad in the comment section if you hate it or not. Anyways, these are things that happen on the 91 freeway, the wild, wild west on the west coast of Los Angeles.
This is like a 3-tanker explosion that happened like last year where it shut down like the entire 91 freeway and like half it had to be repaired and shit. It was just like charred, broiled cars on the side of the 91 last year. And I was like, holy shit, dude.
There's still char marks on the freeway where that happened.
Oh, 100%.
Like, that shit's not changing. Like you can't pave that out.
No, it's a mark forever, and I love it.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go ahead and agree with you there. We can align on there. See, sometimes we can have arbitrary scales where we even agree. All right.
There you go. And it's not
Nice.
supposed to make sense. That's the whole point. Our review is our review.